One. All right, folks, I'm coming into the shot now. Have to produce, direct, a little bit of everything. I'm your host, BKP. It is Wednesday night. Yes, usually we're here on Monday nights, but one Wednesday night a month we'll be here at Circuit World in Murphy. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching the NC Sports Report with Jake West. Jake, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
We got a lot to talk about because on this show right here, it's called the NC Sports Report, meaning if it's in North Carolina and it's sports, well, wait a minute. I have a big question. Do you consider gaming a sport?
Like Xbox and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
All right, maybe I should touch that because I'm trying to say if it's sports, you know. I'll never forget the first time I turned on ESPN and they were playing poker. I was like, okay. Do you know over in Georgia, GHSA now has sanctioned, there's GHSA has gaming teams, schools
I saw that. I try to keep myself involved because we do high school sports. I try to read up on the literature and stuff, and I saw where they were incorporating like EA gaming, like sports gaming, and I think is Fannin in that or Gilmer in that?
I think Gilmer's in the sports gaming, but so I got a little sidetracked, but that's what it means. NC Sports Report, where we're here 30 minutes every one Wednesday night and every Monday night. Jake, we've got a lot of, over here at Murphy with the Bulldogs, we've got a lot of sports that have wrapped up. We're at the end of the school year. Graduation's just around the corner. But here's what I want to do tonight is I want to start with baseball, go through all of the teams and sports, talk about the season a little bit. You know what happened. Talk a little bit about what these teams have to do for next year and what they got to be working on. Let's talk with baseball. They graduated 11, did I get that right? Yep. 11 guys last year.
Yep.
They're coming off actually being the state champs in 1A, correct? Mm-hmm. 1A, Smoky Mountain region.
Yep.
1A, state champs. This year they did not get to the out of the first round. Did they not get out of the first round? They didn't get out of the first round.
They drew Pine Lake Prep in the first round and lost 12-7 last Tuesday.
Right.
And I don't know. They just never really. I mean, 7 runs. That's a lot of runs, and I think that's been their biggest problem all year. Is our offense is always working, but they can't. I mean, the arms they have in their bullpen aren't as good as they need to be state champions. You know, that's what I would. That's what I've seen from watching this year.
They graduated 11 guys, and I don't know. We don't have it in front of us, but like how many juniors, how many sophomores, how many freshmen? I mean, like how many guys are going to be starting next year that are juniors? I mean, where is this team at?
We're still not in the junior phase. Most of these guys, I'd say 8 of them are all freshmen that are starting right now. So they'll be sophomores, and this team's got a long way to go, obviously, with first round put out, but obviously they're still so young that they can afford something like this their freshman year to build on. Sometimes you need to learn how to lose to learn how to win.
Well, do you see this year just being the age, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago with this baseball team, is with such a stout team last year, so many seniors, state champions. I called it, there was a lot of guys under that level that you just didn't see because they didn't get on the field and they weren't getting playing time.
It's definitely the age and the experience, like you're talking about. I mean, it's not the coach. This coach has won. He's been to 2 state championships and won one. So obviously the coaching's
absolutely
stellar. And the talent on this team is crazy.
Who was the head coach of this team?
Adam Kluntz.
The reality is you could practice turning a double play all day, and it's got to translate to the game. And the only way it translates to the game is the game playing it, right?
Exactly.
So that what you watch this year is these guys are really practicing well together, starting to translate it to the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, their first game this year against Franklin was the first varsity at bat and first varsity pitch, varsity play any of these guys have made, mostly. I'd say 80%, 90% of these guys had made. So it was coming up fresh. They're still green around the ears.
But you did see, watching them this year, you did see the team come together, and I think it's a credit to these young guys that they even had a home playoff game. Period.
Yeah, for sure. You would think.
So I think that's there's a standard set, and they're living up to it, is my opinion. What do you think? What do you think they have to do next year? I mean, if you were saying these are a couple things that have to happen: cleaner defense, fewer errors, some batting's got to pick up. What are some of the things that you would zero in on that these sophomores and juniors have to bring back next year to go to that next level?
Well, offensively, this is a very sound team, so I think most everything they need to improve on is they've got to find some depth in the bullpen. It looks like the Braves bullpen out there. I mean, they've got some guys that are there, and then some guys they just don't have it, and they've got to find some other guys. Coach Klontz has got to look around and find some other guys that are going to bring their stuff every night, because, I mean, high school baseball is Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you only get to pitch a certain amount of pitches.
Right.
And, I mean, they've got to have some pitching. They've got to have some pitching, and then they've got to have some more fundamentally sound defense, because they're, like I said, their offense, this is a terrifying offense. I mean, you don't want to see these guys coming up to bat, but defensively and pitching wise, that's what lost them most of their games this year, I would say.
Well, and again, if they are in the area of sophomores and juniors, like you say, then actually they are coming together. Coach needs guys to throw 5 innings at least, and then 1 or 2 they can get an inning each, or 2 innings, because to me, I always say high school baseball breaks out in that 5th inning. If you get 2 pretty good pitchers and they got some defense behind them, they get that 5th inning. Now, some of the guys can go the complete game, but I think you'll agree, if you're watching a close game, your breakout is that 5th inning is where teams separate. Would you agree with that?
For sure. I mean, they have Dawson Hensley and Kellen Ronfeld. They're 2 of their main pitchers that they're both freshmen. So, I mean, they're going to find some more stuff, get around in their bag and search a little bit and see what they got, and they'll increase in velocity and find some more movement as they get older and they mature more. So, and also what I think really hurt them is they lost Josh Ott, their only senior pitcher, at the very end of the season. He tore
that was a guy who was with us.
Yes, yeah. He was with us. He tore something in his arm and wasn't able to pitch anymore. But what's really cool, and one of the reasons that I think this whole community likes Adam, is Coach Klontz put him in his last game. You're down 12-7. He puts him in, lets him bat, so that way he gets to go out playing in his last game, and he got a hit. So it's pretty cool to see. Being a senior, he's not going to play ball anywhere. His last baseball game he'll ever play, he gets to go out with a bang. So that's pretty cool, and shows a lot of respect to Adam towards his seniors.
You said Braves bullpen. That was pretty cold,
I'm a Red Sox fan. Though,
yeah, but let me say this: we do a show on Fridays, and this past Friday morning we have a little segment called Winners and Losers, and I got to one of the guys on the show on the Winners and Losers, and the guy said, my loser is the Braves bullpen. So they must be struggling. So that is where you say closing out games and picking up things like that. Let's get to our next sport, but before we do, let's stay on high school baseball for a minute. So in that 1A, who are you seeing that's excelling? Who in this region is still in there? What do you see as far as this goes along? What are some of your predictions?
Well, this region, Swinging Mountain Conference doesn't have anybody in it anymore. Rosman won the Swinging Mountain Conference, got the higher seed than Murphy, and they lost 3-2.
What about Hayesville?
In their first round. Hayesville, they lost their first round.
So everybody in the Smoky Mountain Conference is gone.
Yep.
What's your prediction on 1A in the state? Do you have one?
I don't know. It's all teams. I mean, Pine Lake Prep looked pretty good for this high seed as they are. that would probably be a sleeper pick if you wanted them to go. They would go pretty far. I don't know. All these teams are middle of the state, out that way. The western part of the state didn't really represent as well as they should have, especially having a state champion like we did.
Let's get into our next sport for over here at Murphy. Which one you want to go into next?
Well, girls soccer. I think this is like the first or second year they've even had a program, and they won their first round playoff game last week. And advanced to the second round against North Stokes, or they beat North Stokes and then advanced to the second round against Greystone Day, who they ended up losing to. But still, for a second year program, that's stellar to get that first playoff win, and it's pretty cool to see.
So it's only the second year in the program for the high school?
It might even be the first.
They went to their first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, first round of the playoffs. They got a home game. It was the same day that baseball and softball played their first round.
Right.
And they played over here on the football field, and they won against North Stokes. And then unfortunately drew Greystone Day and went on the road and played them and lost. But still, that's awesome for this program. It's kind of cool to see a program like that come into the winning tradition that Murphy already has and not have to grow,
Hey, folks, you're watching NC Sports Report on Team FYN Sports Facebook page. Now, don't forget, you could follow us on Twitter at Team FYN Sports, also Instagram at Team FYN Sports. On our Facebook page, you can put comments, all kinds of comments on what you want to see, anything that's happening in North Carolina sports, anything you want Jake here over here in this area to follow up, because we definitely will. We want to be your sports reporters right here every week, and follow Team FY Sports. Go to fetchyournews.com. He has a great article on the last game here for the Murphy Bulldogs, the baseball team. If you go to fetchyournews.com and you click on Cherokee County, North Carolina, click on Team FY Sports, you'll find all of Jake's articles. I want to give a quick shout out. I know I'm in North Carolina. I don't want to go off the rails here, but we were talking about it before. I just got to give a quick shout out across the county line over here to the Fannin County Rebels, which they made it to the Elite Eight. They lost this past week against Pike County, but an amazing season for them in 3A and winning Region 7 3A championship this year and making it to the Elite Eight. So big shout out to Fannin County. I tell you what I enjoyed over there is we broadcast both of those. I still haven't got it back together. But last week they played Pike County. Pike County had not been shut out all year, and they shut them out in the second game 9-0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and their ERA, Pike County's ERA, is like .68 for their starting pitchers, and they scored 9 runs against them. So it was a really good series. A lot of enjoyable baseball. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back. Let me go over here and take a brief break. We'll be right back on the other side, talk girls softball and maybe some discussion about what's going on in spring football practice over here for the Murphy Bulldogs.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Do you feel like healthcare has become too impersonal?
3 times an hour, I'll get you in, I'll get you out.
At Lifetime Medical Center, you're more than a number. We get to know you, not just your medical issues. Dr. Alana Kent is board certified in family practice and offers same-day appointments. She and her staff treat conditions from minor to chronic issues. Lifetime Medical Center, convenient to Jasper and Blue Ridge.
This may sting a little.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and LJ, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World. In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
All right, folks, we're back. Well, maybe Jake's back and I'm getting over there. Jake, it's a low-budget show. I got produce, direct. I'm your host, BKP. You're watching the NC Sports Report over here at Circuit World in Murphy. Jake, I'm here with my co-host, Jake West. He is over here in North Carolina. He's our sports reporter for Team FY Sports. And Jake is doing a little wrap-up of what's going on with the Bulldogs. And we've covered baseball and we covered soccer. We want to get into softball right now, Jake. Is that where we want to go?
Yeah, we're going to jump over to soccer. They actually...
Softball.
Or softball, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Softball.
All right.
They won their first round game against Union Academy and then went on to win their second round game against Lincoln Charter. And last night, they ended up playing, I think it was last night, they played, no, it's Friday. Friday they played North Stanley and lost 3-2 in the 7th inning. They were down 3-0 and then went into the 6th inning and scored 2 runs and then were never able to tack on another one to tie the game up. So they were sent home by North Stanley. They ended up getting a home game after going and playing at Lincoln Charter and beating them in the second round. They came back home and played against North Stanley, and just weren't able to get hot. Weren't able to get their bats rolling.
Give me some of the names on that team. Tell me a little bit about that team, because folks out there, I have not had the opportunity to get to know the softball program. So what did this team do for maybe somebody who's just tuned in for the first time that doesn't know a whole lot about Murphy Sports here with the softball. What did this team do this year and comparable to last, or with the program? How did this team look?
They looked really good. They're a really young team too, and I think they surprised a lot of people. I say it's two of the best softball teams in the state in the same conference with Robbinsville. Robbinsville's an awesome team. They've got a couple D1 girls on their team too.
Now they're still going, Robbinsville?
Robbinsville is still going. They play North Stanley Friday in the 4th round. So that's actually who beat Murphy. And we would have got to see a third matchup of Robbinsville and Murphy if Murphy would have been able to beat North Stanley. But Robbinsville won the Smoky Mountain Conference and beat Murphy twice to win that crown. Murphy came in second. The only 2 losses Murphy had all year was against Robbinsville. So it's, to me, 2 of the best softball teams in the state. Being in the same conference is just awesome, and getting to see them face each other twice every year is a really cool thing to see.
Well, I know when we start highlighting teams, we don't want to leave anybody out, but we have met several of the baseball players here. Highlight some of the names, pitchers, batters, some of the names on the softball that stepped up this year. Some of the, I guess the only way to put it, top players that really excelled.
Well, I think their best bat is probably Annie Kate Dalton. She's a catcher, and Kaya Pickens. Kaya Pickens also plays basketball for the Murphy team that went to the Final Four. Annie Kate is going to play softball at Carolina, so she's already got D1 offers, and she's got a big bat. And also their pitcher Taylor, she's going to play at Tennessee. So that's 2 D1 girls, and there's also D1 girls in Robbinsville, which makes it really cool. And there's a lot of big names that come to watch those 2 teams play each other. And they ended up playing. They had a game for the Smoky Mountain Conference because they both were tied for first. And the end of the season, last season game was Robbinsville versus Murphy for the Smoky Mountain Conference, which was a cool thing to see.
Now, what on the girls softball team? What do you think for next year? What do you see after this season? You say they're young. What do you see next year? What are some of the things you think they have to work on, or where do you think they stand going into next year?
I think just like with baseball, they're just young and they need more experience because a lot of these girls are just coming up from JV and stuff like that. So they just need to see more, I guess, live pitching and live at bats, and it's hard to come up clutch in a pressure situation if you've never been in a pressure situation. So I think they needed to see this. They needed to get deeper into the playoffs. They finally got over the hump, the 2nd round hump, went to the 3rd round. I think each year they're going to progress even better. Thomas Nelson, he coaches, helps Coach Gentry coaches the football team, and his daughter actually plays on the softball team. He coaches the softball team. He's got a good thing going over there with that program, and he's getting the girls to come together and getting them all to like each other and spend time with each other and just creating a good bond that they'll have for the rest of their life. So I think what he's got going there, it's all swinging in the right direction. It's just got to get over that hump. And I mean, I know they got over the 2nd round hump that they've been trying to get over for years, but I think it's finally getting there. We got over the hump, and now we're heading downhill. So
sometimes the programs in certain sports, as they're developing in a school, you want to get that first playoff win. That's big. And then sometimes in rural county schools, it's hard to get to that second win. And I think you and I know that, and a lot of the people out there know that. It's hard to get into that second win. And when you get that one, to go to the 3rd one is obviously big. But that says a lot for your program if you've knocked down 2 wins. That means you've put your program on solid footing.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're taking a big step in the direction of winning the state championship. Yeah,
I don't want to say your first playoff game, the level of competition is not there, but it is different.
Yeah, for sure, especially if you get that high seed.
Because, I mean, I understand it's different over here in North Carolina, but just like over in Georgia, you start with 32, and next thing you know, you got 16 teams. So those 16 teams, everybody's competitive. So getting past that second win is strong. Let me ask you a question right now, because How he does it, I'm not for sure. I know we're not getting on football, but I want to say something. In rural counties, coaches, I'm going to use the word struggle, being at the top of their program every year because you're usually every third year having to rebuild. So Coach Gentry with the football, outstanding job with actually staying up there around the top every year or close to it.
Yeah.
But most of the programs that you're talking about, like we've talked about tonight, it's not unusual to have that year, and then you've got some years of rebuilding in rural county sports. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see it at every level. I mean, every team has to go through rebuilding, and then you hit a team like Murphy football that doesn't ever seem to rebuild. Alabama football doesn't ever seem to rebuild. It's just a different gene those guys have where they can just turn a team that shouldn't be something into something. I
will tell you this. It is amazing. We'll get there in a minute that you're able to keep plugging guys in the spots that leave, because there's a lot of schools, especially up here in North Georgia, Western Carolina. All these areas are rural counties, and it's just very tough to keep plugging those spots back in year after year.
Yep,
Before we get to talking about some spring football at First Game and some of the things that's happening there, you wanted to go over, you wanted to talk about golf, or what else do you have?
Yeah, Trevor Shaw, he's the only kid from the Murphy team that advanced to the state finals in golf, and the first day didn't go so well. I think he shot a 91. Second day he ended up doing way better, shot a 78 and hit a hole-in-one at Pinehurst, which is awesome. A lot of people go their whole lives without hitting the hole-in-one, so shout out to you, Trevor Shaw, hitting the hole-in-one at Pinehurst. I know you're in good hands with Coach Watson there, and I'm sure he thanks you for letting him go on that trip and getting to see Pinehurst. Also, one of the things I want to talk about is the girls track team is three-time Western Regional champions. After they just won the state championship last year, they went again and won the Western Regional Championship and are getting prepared for state. So that's an awesome thing to see, too, keeping that Murphy winning tradition alive in all sports.
You said most people go their whole lives and never hit a hole-in-one. I'm just happy to be close to the pin, on the pin. I like when, there's the pin, and I look and I'm here and I'm like, wow, okay. So the girls track team into the state level. Who are some of the highlights there? If you don't mind bringing up some of the highlights and some of the things to watch for as they get over to the state level.
Well, we've got a really good jumper in Torrin Rogers. She's also on the basketball team, which brings up something I wanted to touch on. One of my favorite things about covering Murphy is seeing the dual sport athletes. I mean, I think like in this day and age, a lot of that's like looked down upon, especially with AAU. They want you to be a one sport athlete, focus on one thing. But I love covering sports and seeing guys and girls that are hitting home runs in softball and then knocking down threes in basketball, and guys that are knocking people over in football and then have the finesse to hit a layup in basketball. It's just really cool to see how like footwork and speed and everything is transferring over from one sport to another sport. I don't know if you guys see a lot of that with the bigger schools in Georgia.
Well, I will tell you this. Talking about that, I'm not a single sport guy, and I want to give it. When you say that we see this, we got a young man over in Fannin. His name's Chandler Kendall, and Chandler played football this year, a wide receiver, did an amazing job. Basketball, I mean, he hit hustle. I mean, I don't have the words to describe that. He's nonstop in basketball. And then in baseball, he is the senior over here that really, I won't say carried the team on their shoulders, but you just knew he was leading the way. And he's going out, I don't want to get it wrong, I think he's going out to Tennessee Wesleyan. It's somewhere out in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's going out there to play baseball. He's going to, so he and I know his father very well, and I know him very well. We believe his father and I play, multi-sports. And, I don't like to see a kid zero in, and we're seeing it now. And I want to tell you out there, it's just a conversation, okay? Not being negative, but I'm seeing like this at like 10 years old now.
Yeah,
you know, I'm seeing.
Yeah,
well, I mean, what do you think? I'm seeing this zeroing in on one
It's crazy.
sport.
Keep your kid hemmed up in AAU basketball, and they never get to play Little League baseball. I mean, even if they're not even any good at baseball, it's still, you know, even if they're like, there's a stellar basketball player and they're not any good at baseball, still, I think the teamwork and the friendships and the connections that you make could go throughout your whole life. And maybe that baseball team stinks and that basketball team never loses. At least they learn how to lose in baseball, which is something that every kid needs to learn how to do. And I just think it's better all around for the kid as a person and an athlete to just do as much stuff as they can while they're young.
Well, I think you know I love baseball. Now, I like football. I do, folks. I get into it. You're going to hear it this fall. I like basketball, but I just love baseball. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of guys up there in Cooperstown that did not have $500 aluminum bats, $250 bat bags. I'm not knocking, man. I'm not knocking. $180 gloves. And there's a whole lot of guys up there in Cooperstown. And there's a lot of records like Ted Williams. See, nobody's batted over 400 yet.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? What was that, 1940? I don't know. But anyhow, and I'm not knocking it. I want to be clear. I'm at the baseball. Hey, I'm at the baseball. It's high school baseball. I'm there on Tuesdays. I'm there on Friday nights. I don't miss it if kids are playing the park. But single sports, I wish they would get, I'm like you, a more rounded and play with different kids. So
also, I want to talk about.
We didn't get sidetracked. I like the conversation, but go ahead.
This just segues right into. I want to talk about Yusuf Mugerbil, who's a lineman for Murphy. We had him on the show last.
Yeah, he's a big guy. We're gonna get him back here because he's a big guy.
Last week, he just got another offer from Illinois, and he can't. He's always talking about his coach Gary Thompson. Gary Thompson is a guy who's a big advocate for multiple sport athletes, and Yusuf grew up playing soccer, and to see him go from a really humongous soccer player, a 6'6", 300-pound soccer player, to
what's Yusuf's last name again?
Mugerbil.
And he was here. He was here with us, and when he was with us now. So are we talking Illinois, the Big Ten Illinois? I mean, D1?
Yeah, he's gotten offers from Illinois, Virginia Tech, Tennessee. I think he has 5 offers. And He's visited Clemson. He's visited Georgia. I'd say he's the biggest recruit in Western North Carolina right now, easily.
Let me roll.
I think Rivals has him at number 6 in his position, number 1 in the state, something like that.
Let me roll back real quick because we got to go because our time is up. Highlight again the dual athlete, the young lady in track and basketball. What was her name again?
There's Torrin Rogers and Kaya Pickens, plays softball and basketball.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you, along with the audience at the same time, what I would like to do next week. Let's wrap up, and we don't want to say, last but not least, football, but it is spring practice. We wanted to highlight all of the spring sports that have come to a close, all the great athletes out there, the great season you all have had. We wanted to make sure that came first. Real quick, spring practice is going on. Anything there to talk about? Anything you see in the team, and what do we got to focus on?
First game's August 23rd against Pisgah. That's after our 2 scrimmages. I don't know. Everybody's jacked up and ready to go. It's another first spring practice coming off of a state championship win. Seems like it should be different coming off a state championship, but there's been so many, it just seems expected that back home, back to work kind of mentality.
I tell you what I want to do next week. Because of graduation, I'll tell you now so you can start working on it. We'll start working on it inside, helping you any way we can. We have a program we call Taking It to the Next Level. And what that is it's the high school athletes that have signed with colleges to be on somewhere in the fall playing baseball, softball, basketball, football, golf, whatever it is. It's called taking it to the next level. What I want to do next week, because it's graduation, we're right on the graduation, I want to get all the kids, the seniors that have signed and where they're going, and I want to highlight all of them next week. We good with that?
That's fine with me.
Hey, I'm your host, BKP. You're watching NC Sports Report. If it's happening in North Carolina over here, Western North Carolina, we want to cover it. We want to know about it. So follow us at Team FYN Sports Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. Put it right on there. Tell us what you want to know. And also, we are looking for more help in the North Carolina area, Clay County. So if you part-time or whatever, even students want to get involved in the sports department, get in touch with Jake or myself or the office, and we can tell you how we can get involved, because we're determined. You know what our hashtag is? All over it. We're determined to be that over here in North Carolina. NC Sports Report. You can find this on our YouTube channel and share it with your friends. Jake, I'm going to head over here and say goodnight. Folks, again, you know what? I got to come back for this. I got to get the camera. Don't miss Instant Replay. Instant Replay Monday morning on FYNTV.com. You're going to want to meet Lauren Hunter. You do that. That's a sports show too. Folks, we're out.